I always believed my wife, Lauren, was the most loyal woman in the world. If someone had told me 6 months ago that she would betray me, I would have laughed in their face. That's how much I trusted her. We had been married for 8 years, built a beautiful life together, and rarely fought about anything serious. Sure, we had our ups and downs like any couple, but I never had a reason to doubt he. At least, not until I checked the security cameras. Before we continue, I want to express my deepest gratitude to all of you. Your support, comments, and engagement mean the world to me. Whether you're a longtime follower or new to my stories, thank you for being here. Now, let's get into it. It all started with something small. A feeling. A whisper in the back of my mind that something was off. Lauren had always been affectionate, the kind of wife who would kiss me on the cheek as I left for work, send me texts throughout the day, and cuddle up next to me on the couch at night. But lately, she had changed. She was distant. Her phone, which used to sit face up on the counter, was now always tucked away. She started dressing nicer even when she wasn't going anywhere important. And worst of all, she barely touched me anymore. At first, I told myself I was overthinking. Maybe she was stressed. Maybe work was getting to her. Maybe she was just in a phase. But the feeling wouldn't go away. Then came the security cameras. We had installed them 2 years ago for safety. A few cameras outside, one in the living room, and one in the garage. Lauren was the one who suggested them, and I had never actually needed to check them before. Until that night. I was working late in my home office when I heard a car door outside. I glanced at the clock, 11:45 p.m. Strange. Lauren had told me she was out with her friends, but they usually didn't stay out this late. Curious, I opened the security app on my phone and checked the front camera. That's when I saw her. Lauren, stepping out of a car. Not an Uber. Not her own. But someone else's. And then, the real gut punch, she leaned into the passenger side window, and kissed the driver. My heart stopped. I couldn't see his face. The angle was bad, and the car's interior was dark. But I saw her face. The way she smiled. The way she lingered. The way she kissed him like she used to kiss me. I felt like I was going to throw up. For a few minutes, I just sat there, staring at the screen, hoping I had imagined it. But the camera didn't lie. Lauren walked up to the front door, fixed her hair, and came inside like nothing had happened. I could hear her moving around downstairs, probably assuming I was asleep. I should have gone down there. I should have confronted her right then. But I didn't. Instead, I sat in the dark, replaying the footage over and over, my mind racing with questions. Who was he? How long had this been going on? Had she been lying to me for weeks? Months? Years? I needed answers. And I knew exactly where to find them. The security cameras had caught this much. But what else had they seen? With shaking hands, I scrolled through the footage from the past few weeks, my stomach twisting with every click. What I found next shattered me completely. I sat in the dark, staring at my phone screen, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. The image of Lauren kissing that man replayed over and over in my head, making me sick to my stomach. Who the hell was he? I had two choices, confront her now or dig deeper. If I charged downstairs, I'd be running on pure emotion. But if I waited, I could gather proof, understand the full extent of her betrayal before she had the chance to lie. So I did the only thing I could. I kept watching. I scrolled through weeks of security footage, fast-forwarding through hours of empty rooms, searching for any sign of her secret life. And then I found it. A video from 2 weeks ago. Lauren, in the living room, wearing that short black dress I'd complimented her on. She wasn't dressed for a girls' night, she was dressed for someone else. She paced near the front door, checking her phone every few seconds. Then, at exactly 8:17 p.m., the door opened, and he walked in. Tall. Confident. Dressed in a sleek button-down with the sleeves rolled up. He moved like he belonged there, like he had done this before. Nathaniel Pierce. The name hit me like a truck. I knew him. Not well, but I had seen him around. He lived a few blocks over, always driving around in his expensive car, always looking like he had his life perfectly together. I had even spoken to him a few times, small talk at the gym, passing conversations at the coffee shop. I never imagined he was screwing my wife. On the screen, Lauren smiled at him. The kind of smile she used to give me. The kind of smile I hadn't seen in months. She wrapped her arms around his neck. He pulled her close. And then I turned it off. I couldn't watch anymore. It wasn't just a fling. This wasn't a one-time mistake. The way they looked at each other, this had been going on for a while. And I had been blind. I sat there, gripping my phone so hard my knuckles turned white. My mind raced through every interaction, every time she came home late, every excuse she ever made. How long had she been doing this? How many times had she looked me in the eye and lied to me? I needed more answers. I searched deeper into the footage, looking for a pattern. Nathaniel had been here more than once. Always late at night. Always when I was either out or locked away in my office. But one video stood out. A recording from the garage camera. I clicked on it, my pulse hammering in my throat. Lauren stood there, her back pressed against the car, looking up at Nathaniel with a mixture of excitement and guilt. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this, she whispered. You don't have to, he said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Just say the word, and I'll take care of everything. Take care of everything? What the hell did that mean? A cold chill ran down my spine. This wasn't just some reckless affair. There was more to this. Nathaniel Pierce wasn't just after my wife, he had a plan. And I was going to find out exactly what it was. I barely slept that night. How could I? The woman I had trusted with my life, the woman I built a home with, the woman I loved, was sneaking around with Nathaniel Pierce behind my back. And the worst part? It wasn't just physical. Their conversation in the garage haunted me. Just say the word, and I'll take care of everything. What the hell did that mean? Was he trying to convince her to leave me? Or was it something worse? I had no choice. I needed more information. So the next morning, I did something I never thought I would do. I followed her. Lauren left the house around 11 a.m., claiming she had a brunch date with her friends. I pretended not to care, kissed her goodbye like everything was normal, then waited 5 minutes before getting in my car. She wasn't heading to brunch. I tailed her through town, keeping a safe distance. Eventually, she pulled into the parking lot of a small cafe, one I had never seen her go to before. And she wasn't alone. Nathaniel was already there, sitting at a table outside, dressed like he didn't have a single worry in the world. Lauren walked straight to him, kissed him on the cheek, and sat down. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my fingers ached. I wanted to storm over there, flip the damn table, and punch him in the face. But I couldn't. Not yet. I needed to hear what they were saying. So I parked nearby, put on a hat to keep a low profile, and sat at a table close enough to listen. That's when I heard the name for the first time. Jason. Lauren lowered her voice, looking nervous. Does Jason know? Nathaniel leaned back in his chair, smirking. Of course not. He wouldn't approve. Jason. Jason Pierce. Nathaniel's brother. Why would Jason care about their affair? Unless. I kept listening, every word sending chills down my spine. Lauren sighed. This is getting complicated, Nate. I don't know how much longer I can do this. You don't have to, Nathaniel said smoothly, placing a hand over hers. Just say the word, and we'll take the next step. She hesitated. And what about Ethan? My breath caught in my throat. Nathaniel smirked. What about him? I had heard enough. I stood up and walked away before I did something stupid. My blood was boiling, my hands shaking with rage. This wasn't just a simple affair. Nathaniel Pierce had a plan. And somehow, his brother Jason was involved, or at least, he didn't know about it. I needed to find Jason. Maybe he had the answers I was looking for. I couldn't shake the image of Lauren and Nathaniel together. The betrayal cut deep, but it was the uncertainty that gnawed at me. What was their endgame? And how did Nathaniel's brother, Jason Pierce, fit into all this? Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to confront Jason. If he was unaware of his brother's actions, he deserved to know. If he was complicit, I needed to understand the full scope of their plans. I found Jason's contact information through a mutual acquaintance and arranged to meet him at a local cafe. The irony wasn't lost on me, meeting the brother of the man who was tearing my life apart in the same setting where Lauren and Nathaniel had rendezvoused. As I waited, my mind raced with possibilities. Would Jason be defensive? Oblivious? Or perhaps even a victim himself? The door chimed, and Jason walked in. He was taller than Nathaniel, with a more rugged demeanor. His eyes scanned the room until they landed on me. With a nod, he approached and took a seat across from me. Ethan, right? He began, extending his hand. I shook it, noting the firmness of his grip. Yes. Thanks for meeting me. He leaned back, studying me. So, what's this about? You mentioned it was important. I took a deep breath, deciding to be direct. It's about your brother, Nathaniel, and my wife, Lauren. A flicker of recognition crossed his face, but he remained composed. Go on. I have reason to believe they're involved in an affair, I said, watching his reaction closely. Jason's jaw tightened, and he looked away momentarily before meeting my gaze again. I had my suspicions, he admitted. Nathaniel's been different lately. Distant. Secretive. Relief washed over me. Jason wasn't in on it. In fact, he seemed as troubled by the revelation as I was. I don't know the extent of their relationship, I continued, but I overheard them discussing something concerning. Nathaniel mentioned taking care of everything and implied you wouldn't approve. Jason's eyes narrowed. Did they say anything else? I recounted the conversation I had overheard, emphasizing the ambiguity of their plans and my growing unease. Jason sighed, rubbing his temples. Nathaniel and I have had our differences, but I never thought he'd stoop this low. If he's manipulating Lauren, there might be more at play here. What do you mean? I asked, leaning forward. Our family has resources, Jason explained cautiously. Nathaniel has always been ambitious, sometimes recklessly so. If he's using those resources for personal gain, it could spell trouble for anyone involved. A cold chill settled over me. This was bigger than just an affair. Nathaniel might be leveraging his family's assets for dubious purposes, and Lauren was caught in the middle. Do you think Lauren knows? I asked, hoping against hope that she was merely a pawn in Nathaniel's game. Jason shook his head. I can't say for sure. But if Nathaniel's involved, it's best we tread carefully. We spent the next hour devising a plan. Jason would discreetly investigate his brother's activities, using his connections to uncover any illicit dealings. Meanwhile, I would gather more evidence on Lauren and Nathaniel's relationship, ensuring we had concrete proof before making any moves. As we parted ways, Jason placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We'll get to the bottom of this, Ethan. Whatever it takes. I nodded, grateful for his support. But as I drove home, a nagging thought lingered in my mind. Even if we uncovered the truth, would I be prepared to face it? The days that followed my meeting with Jason were a blur of anxiety and anticipation. I continued to monitor Lauren's activities, each interaction with Nathaniel deepening the chasm of betrayal. Jason, true to his word, discreetly investigated his brother's dealings, uncovering a web of deceit that extended beyond my marriage. One evening, as I sat in my study, my phone buzzed with a message from Jason: "We need to talk. I found something." We arranged to meet at a secluded park to ensure our conversation remained private. Under the dim glow of the park's lamps, Jason handed me a folder filled with documents. "Nathaniel's been embezzling funds from our family's company," he revealed, his voice laced with disappointment. "He's using offshore accounts to hide the money. Lauren's involvement is unclear, but her association with him could implicate her." The weight of his words pressed down on me. This wasn't just about infidelity, it was about criminal activity that could ruin lives. "We need to confront them," I said, determination hardening my resolve. Jason nodded. "But we have to be strategic. If we expose them without concrete evidence, they could deny everything and cover their tracks." We devised a plan to confront Nathaniel and Lauren together, ensuring neither could manipulate the narrative. Jason would invite Nathaniel to his house under the pretense of a family discussion, while I would bring Lauren, claiming Jason needed support regarding a personal matter. The day arrived, tension palpable in the air. As we gathered in Jason's living room, an uneasy silence settled over us. Nathaniel's confident demeanor faltered when he saw me, suspicion flickering in his eyes. Lauren avoided my gaze, her guilt evident. Jason broke the silence. "Nathaniel, Lauren, we know about the affair." He held up the folder. "And we know about the embezzlement." Nathaniel's face blanched, but he quickly masked it with indignation. "This is absurd. You have no proof." I stepped forward, meeting Lauren's tear-filled eyes. "I've seen the security footage, Lauren. I've watched you with him. How could you do this to us?" She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. "I'm so sorry, Ethan. I never meant for it to go this far." Nathaniel scoffed. "This is a waste of time. You have nothing." Jason's expression hardened. "Actually, we do. I've already contacted our legal team. The evidence is irrefutable." "It's over, Nathaniel." Realizing his predicament, Nathaniel's bravado crumbled. He sank into a chair, burying his face in his hands. "I messed up," he muttered. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Nathaniel faced legal repercussions for his crimes, and Lauren and I separated, the trust between us shattered beyond repair. Jason took over the family business, vowing to restore its integrity. Through the pain and betrayal, I found strength in uncovering the truth and reclaiming my life. The experience taught me the importance of vigilance, the value of honesty, and the resilience of the human spirit. Thus the end. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Your support and engagement have been invaluable. Stay tuned for more stories that explore the complexities of human relationships and the enduring quest for truth and redemption.